Hello, my name is Mr. Padgett. I teach Honors U.S. History in District 201. I bet you're real excited to start the school year. I hope you're as excited as I am. I'm sure you're looking forward to hearing my voice all school year. But the good news is I don't really talk like that, so you won't hear my voice that way. That's not how I really talk. Also, this picture of me is not really me. Well, it is me, and that really is my hair. Except during quarantine, that's what I did. I let my hair grow out until I couldn't stand it anymore, and then I shaved it like General Ambrose Burnside from the Civil War. He was at the Battle of Antietam. We'll get to that later, but you'll see this picture make a comeback. The purpose here is for me to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about myself, and then to kind of tell you about the class. You guys are probably doing this in your other classes today, but this is a way to for you to get to know me a little bit, as well as to understand what's going to go on in the class. So this is for two classes. I have my regular Honors US that was going to meet in person here in school, and then I have a remote Honors US. So this is going to both of you. Okay, so for those of you in the remote, I understand that some of you go to Baba West, and some of you go to Beverly East. So just understand that I know that. So, okay. Again, my name is Mr. Padgett. This is Honors U.S. History. Let me tell you a little bit about myself first. So this is me, my personal background. I went to grade school at Wolf Branch School in Swansea. I have lived here my entire life. In fact, my family, I grew up right behind Outback Steakhouse in Swansea, if you know where that is. That's where I grew up. So some pretty amazing pictures there, especially the one with the glasses. I mean, what were my parents thinking buying those? That is amazing. And my head in that picture appears to be way bigger than any other part of my body, which is frightening. So then that's kind of me going through grade school there. And then that's how we used to roll at graduation. We used to do tuxedos, but then somebody probably complained about the cost or something. So now they do uh, caps and gowns like everybody else. But it was pretty cool. It was a fun thing. So I graduated from there in 1987. From there, I went to Altoff Catholic High School. Boo! But it was an enjoyable 4 years. While I was there, I played basketball. I was on the varsity basketball team. And that's kind of been a theme throughout my life is my love of the game of basketball. But I played basketball while I was there. I was the youngest of six siblings to go through there. So I have five older brothers and sisters. I'll talk a little bit more about them a little bit later. So from Altoff, I graduated in 4 years, obviously. And after 1991, then I went on to college at the University of Missouri. And while I was at the University of Missouri, I was a member of a fraternity. That's a picture of our house down there on the bottom left. I can't see it real well because that thing's up there, and I'm not sure why that is, but it's there. So I was in that fraternity, and then that's a picture of me dressed as a bumblebee with one of my best friends from college. And then that is a parody, so that we did a skit like in front of a couple thousand people, it was obviously a joke, and I went out on stage dressed like that, much to the delight of the audience and my friends who continually remind me of it. But it was a pretty good memory. So I'm supposed to be playing this little person down here to the bottom right, from a video by a rock group called Blind Melon. The song was called No Rain. Some of you may have heard that song, but most of your parents probably have heard that song at some point. So I loved it at Mizzou. I had all kinds of leadership opportunities. I did all kinds of fun stuff on campus. I ran the house decorations that were on campus. I was like a homecoming celebration. I was the MC for our Greek Week ceremony. It was just a lot of fun. I loved every second of every day I was there, and I get back there as often as I can to watch Mizzou athletics. So I'm a big fan. Uh, After I graduated from Mizzou in 1995, I went to work at Wolf Branch again. I went back there for 6 years and taught, coached seventh grade basketball, and loved it. I loved being there. But then I got the opportunity to come here to Bevel East and District 201 to be the girls' varsity basketball coach. And I had the amazing opportunity to coach these young ladies as well as 8 other teams in those 9 years. It's cool for me to look at this picture that I picked up. So number 44 there, she's a dentist in Fairview Heights. Number 33 is a lawyer. Number 4, we can't see number 24 there. Number 23, and then the girl behind number 44. They're all teachers and coaches. So super cool that so many of them are doing things like that. There's accountants in there. There's somebody that works for golf tour. So it's kind of neat. So you guys someday will be like them. You'll be grown up. So I stopped coaching that basketball team, and because I had 3 kids, and I'll get to them in a minute. But I announced for all of our home football games. I'm the guy who says Buffalo East Lancer first down at the football games. That's me, and I do the basketball games here as well, boys and girls. So. What I like to do with my free time, like I said earlier, I'm a big Mizzou guy, so I love going to Mizzou sporting events. I'm a big fan of the basketball team, especially. I go to a lot of football games, but I'm a big fan of basketball right now because former Beverly Hills Lancer Javon Pickett plays for the Tigers, so that's kind of cool. I'm also a big reader. So down there at the left, you can see a book called Where the Crawdads Sing. That's probably my most favorite fiction book I read, especially in the last few years. And then Laura Hillbrand's book called Unbroken about a World War II veteran named Louis Zamperini, who has overcome so many things in his life. It's pretty amazing. So then I'm a big Blues fan and a big Cardinals fan back in the days when we used to get to go to sporting events. Okay, so what else do I do with my free time? I enjoy traveling with my family. And yes, that beautiful lady is my wife, although you can't see her real well there. That's my family. We're at the University of Clemson, or Clemson University in South Carolina there, and we got lucky enough to meet a very kind individual that gave us a tour of the football stadium. So that was really cool. And then the rest of those 2 pictures there are Maroon Bells, which is just outside of Vail, Colorado. Absolutely beautiful place. So we did that this summer. It's pretty cool. What else I do with my free time? I also like to ride my bike, not like Harley Davidson, but like a bicycle. I rode across the state of Missouri on this thing called the Katy Trail, 247 miles. We did it as a fundraiser for the Colleen Nesbitt Foundation. If some of you may know Mr. Nesbitt, the volleyball coach here at Belleville East. His mom worked in the district office for a while. She passed away a couple years ago. She had special needs, so this was a foundation. It was a fundraiser for that foundation, and that's my wife and I in the picture there in the middle at the end of the ride. So in my personal life, that's my wife, and I put these 2 pictures in here because she looks as beautiful as always, but I look totally different. Not beautiful in either, but in one I don't have any facial hair, and the other one I do. So I kind of go back and forth as we go through. It gets colder, I let my hair grow. So you'll see that as we go. So, okay, I have 3 kids, Will, Sophie, and Kieran. There's a picture of Will and Sophie when they were both really little. My son Will is dressed as Michael Phelps there. It was right after the Olympics. It was a Halloween deal that we were there for at Disney, and then my daughter is a gymnast that was also an Olympic gold medalist. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I grew up in Swansea. You may have seen some Padgett like trucks that drive around with a big P on the side. Those are my brothers that own a construction company, and my nephew. So I did work for them for a long time in the summers, but I don't anymore. They're really good at that. I'm really good at this. So I would much rather do this than do that job, and I love it. I can't believe that this is year 26 for me. That seems like it's not possible. The picture on the right is my daughter Kieran. We were somewhere on vacation someplace, I don't even know where, and I turned around and that's what she had on. So she just grabbed the clothes out the rack and the sunglasses and the hats and started putting them on. So that's her. She's 10 years old now. So they're growing up quickly. Highlights of the syllabus. On your syllabus, which you have a link. You had a link in Classroom today for your syllabus. You can pause me and go there if you want and get that out. At the top of it, it has my cell phone number. And you guys can call me anytime if you have an emergency or there's something that you need. You can go ahead and contact me. You got to tell me who you are, though, because I'll have no idea who you are because I don't have your phone number in my phone, and nor do I want it because that's creepy to have high school kids' phone number in my phone. So only call me if that's an emergency, okay? Like your house is on fire and you need help, okay? You can call me on that. Otherwise, anytime you need to contact me, use the Google Meets app that's available through your email and on your school Chromebook. All right, that's the best way to get a hold of me. You can also get a hold of me via email. That would work, and I'll get back to you within as quickly as I possibly can. If you email or message me at 11 o'clock at night Well, I'm probably not going to get back to you right away. But if you do it during the school day between 8:30 and 3:30, I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. So, obviously, this is U.S. history. Um, we start. Well, I'll get to that later where we start. So we talk about class rules and expectations. First of all, this is an honors class. Okay, so you're going to do more work in an honors class than you do in others. You know that. You've taken honors classes before, probably. Okay, so I expect you to do the work, right? And I expect you to follow the rules, be courteous when we're doing stuff online, and just you're juniors in high school. And even though this is the first time that you've really done this in this type of environment, last spring was kind of crazy, but this is different. So because your grades are going to count, like, so you know your responsibilities. You guys are smart enough and mature enough that you know what's expected of you. So make up work and late work. If something's due at 9:30 in the morning, and that's when all assignments will be due. I'll assign things before 9:30 on one day, and the following day they have to be turned in before 9:30, and then you're done. Okay. If it's due, it's due. If there's an extenuating circumstance, because as you know, these are crazy times, all you got to do is send me an email, communicate with me, and let me know what's going on. Okay. We all have different life situations. I got stuff going on. I'm sure some of you got stuff going on. So contact me if there's an issue. Now, if there's a big project or something that's due, then you need to get that stuff taken care of ahead of time. Okay, don't wait till the last minute and then all of a sudden there's an obstacle at the finish line. Well, get it done before that so it's not a problem. Again, you guys are good students and you know how to do this. Okay, so let's make sure we get our work done when we need to. The textbook, there's a link on there. I think I mentioned this already under the course texts, and you'll get a password. Actually, I believe your username, like you normally log into your email at school, that's how you log into that textbook. It's the same, and that'll get you on there. But when we have our first assignment, you'll get more about that. Okay, so one big thing is everybody asks about bonus whenever they need it. There won't be any bonus. The grade scale is the same, 90 to 100, 80 to 90. You guys are juniors, you know how that works. If you're at 89.2, sorry, like I'm not bumping you up. Okay, I might like you and think you're the greatest kid ever, but I'm not going to give you any bonus. Okay, so just know that going in. Types of assignments, there'll be all kinds of stuff. And this year it's going to be varied. There's stuff we're probably going to do that I don't even know right now, the platform or what we'd use. But we're learning all kinds of new things. So we'll have all kinds of different stuff that I'm going to try to challenge you to. Some of the stuff will be like on Flipgrid, there'll be interviews with you and I. Some of the stuff will be Google Forms. Some of the stuff will be writing. So we'll have all kinds of different things that we'll do. Books to read throughout the year. First semester, you kind of have a choice. We're going to read a book called The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, or you can choose to read a book called The Invention of Wings. I'll be able to get you either a physical copy or a digital copy of the Frederick Douglass book, and I'll partner you up with 3 other classmates, and you guys will read that book and you'll have discussions about that book with me via Google Meets. So that'll be first semester, and you could either do Frederick Douglass or you can do The Invention of Wings. Okay, that's up to you, however you want to do it. Both of those books focus on slavery before the Civil War. So second semester, we'll read a book called Warriors Don't Cry, and I'll have copies of that for everybody when we get to that point. Okay, academic integrity is there on the syllabus. Basically, don't cheat. Okay, digitally, there's lots of ways for you to cheat. I understand that. There's also lots of ways for me to catch you cheating. So make sure that you don't do that. Okay, please, please, please don't put yourself or me in that situation where there's something we have to do about that. Okay, we'll also use turnitin.com when we get to the papers that we're going to write. Oh, yeah, you'll write a book report paper second semester in addition to Warriors Don't Cry. It's a separate book that you'll pick out before Christmas break, and you'll have like 2 months to read the book, but it's got to be something from the 20th century. And the choice is up to you, whatever you want to read. Okay, all right, so. Academic integrity, I talked about the course outline. So we start with the origins of American democracy. And that's George Washington and his, if you've seen the play Hamilton, that's a lot of it. Okay, and we do that to World War I. That's our first semester. So in a little more detail, what that means is we go through early America, like the origins of America, the purchase of the Louisiana Territory. And then the second unit is where we talk about things like the War of 1812. We talk about the pre-Jacksonian era. And then we get to the Andrew Jackson, like 1828. After Andrew Jackson, then we do Manifest Destiny unit. Then we have a Reform unit about the reform that took place before the Civil War. And then those are like social movements, women's rights, abolition. And then we do the Civil War. Following the Civil War is Reconstruction. And then after Reconstruction, we talk about progressivism and imperialism before we get to World War One, which is where we start the second semester. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. You're going to be doing a lot of work to get us through that this semester. All right, so what will we use in this class? You'll use Google Classroom, which you've already done. You'll use Google Hangouts, okay, which is the best way to communicate with me. We'll have term quizzes. You'll have some quizzes to go through on Google Forms. We'll use Google Meets. We'll do Screencastify. We'll use our online textbook, which is the link I mentioned earlier. There's just a lot of different platforms that we will do. If you've had a friend that's had my class before, we do a lot of cool stuff in class. And this year is going to be the same way. It's just going to be an ever-changing flow of ideas and activities. So there's going to be sometimes where I'm trying a new platform with you, and so we'll kind of feel our way through it. And I'll ask you for feedback, like, what do you guys think? And we'll try to do things that are enjoyable. And I always try to do things that are a little bit different than what you're maybe doing in your other classes. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do that this year because I'm learning too. So nobody knows what will happen. And I'm in a learning process here as well. So apparently I don't have very good grammar in that second sentence. But I make this promise to you. I'm going to work as hard as I can to make this class a pleasurable learning experience. I'm going to do everything I can to make this just like normal, like we're in class, and we're going to learn as much stuff as we can. And I will tell you, we're going to have some discussions, okay, about history and about the people in history and about their decisions and about why they did the things that they did. There's been a lot of history in the news this past summer, and we'll talk about those things as we go throughout this class. So your first assignment to do is to make sure you have somebody that's on Remind. You need to be on there, and then one parent that's on there, because they're probably not going to check Classroom as much as you, so I would really appreciate it if they were on there. And then I also need you to do the survey that's on Classroom and answer that stuff for me so that I can get to know a little bit about you before we get started tomorrow. So that'll be due by 9:30 tomorrow morning. All right. First day of school. I hope you guys are all doing well, connected, ready to get back at this. And again, let's have the right attitude. I'm learning. You're learning. Let's do the best we can.